For Cliff Richard, love was never tabloid fodder. It was a quiet ache that shaped the course of his life. He never married, never had children, yet he was seen as the clean-cut idol who had it all. Behind that carefully guarded smile, however, was a heartbreak that settled into his bones. It began in 1971 when a young Australian singer named Olivia Newton-John appeared on his TV show. Bright-eyed, velvet-voiced, and unknown in Britain, she captured his attention instantly, not just for her talent, but for something deeper that tugged at his heart. A love never meant to be. Cliff's admiration for Olivia Newton-John was complicated. She was engaged, already committed to Bruce Welch, Cliff's longtime bandmate in the Shadows. Yet, the connection between Cliff and Olivia was intense. Their emotional closeness became an unspoken story, one that neither confirmed nor denied publicly. Despite the swirling rumors, Cliff never crossed boundaries. He respected her engagement and friendship, carrying a love that never found a name. Even after Olivia and Bruce's breakup in 1973, he remained silent. That restraint defined him, a man who could have pursued his desire but chose loyalty and quiet suffering instead. A lifelong partnership. Despite the heartbreak, Cliff and Olivia remained close for decades. Their friendship evolved into a creative partnership, a bond that endured more than 40 years. Their duets were infused with unspoken emotion, leaving audiences sensing something profound without understanding it fully. In his 2020 autobiography, Cliff revealed the truth. He had loved Olivia, but timing had denied him the chance. Their final duet at the Royal Albert Hall in 2015 marked a poignant farewell. 3 weeks before her death in 2022, they spoke on the phone, a reminder of the warmth that had endured despite decades of unfulfilled longing. Early years in India. Before he became Cliff Richard, he was Harry Roger Webb, born on October 14, 1940, in King George's Hospital in Lucknow, British India. His early years were framed by privilege, with a father working in Indian Railways catering. But the world was shifting violently. By 1946, British India was a cauldron of unrest. Families like the Webbs were ordered to evacuate as colonial rule collapsed. In 1948, the family boarded the SS Ranch, leaving India behind. Harry watched the familiar fade into horizon, a boy caught between worlds. The journey led him to a rationed gray England, a place that would demand adaptation, resilience, and self-reliance. The making of Cliff Richard. Arriving in post-war England, young Harry faced hardship and dislocation. Cold mornings, ration books, and borrowed pride became daily realities. But these challenges shaped him, planting seeds of determination. He began to understand adaptation, perseverance, and the art of survival. The boy who arrived from India would soon become a young man with a voice and presence that Britain had never heard. The awkward, disoriented child evolved into someone capable of commanding attention, someone who could translate struggle into expression. This transformation laid the foundation for a career that would redefine British pop music forever. Britain's first rock star. By 1958, Britain lacked a rock and roll identity. Charts were dominated by American imports: Elvis Presley, Buddy Holly, Chuck Berry. British teenagers had no cultural figure of their own. Then came a boy with a quiff and a cheap guitar, Cliff Richard. Born Harry Roger Webb, he wasn't wealthy, streetwise, or polished. He brought urgency, rhythm, and teenage defiance to British ears. His B-side track, Move It, contrasted sharply with mainstream expectations. It was raw, immediate, and authentic, a pulse of youthful rebellion. When BBC Radio played it instead of the planned A-side, Britain was transformed overnight. Cliff Richard had become the first British rock artist to break into the top 3 with an original hit. A stage presence like no other. Cliff's success wasn't just musical, it was visual, kinetic, and revolutionary. On stage, he didn't stand stiffly or smile politely. He moved, twisted, danced with mic stand in hand. Teenage girls screamed. Boys either imitated or despised him. Security and police took notice, anticipating the mania he inspired. Alongside his backing band, the Shadows, Cliff wasn't merely performing hits, he was constructing a cultural revolution. By 1959, at just 18, he was a household name. Hits like Living Doll and Travelin' Light sold over 1 million records in Britain, marking him as a transformative figure. He wasn't copying America, he was giving Britain its voice. Early risk-taking in film. Cliff's ambition extended beyond music. In films like The Young Ones and Espresso Bongo, he took roles that challenged norms, combining musical appeal with dramatic depth. In Cliff's Charge, he portrayed a man falsely accused of sexual misconduct, a risky subject for the era. Even in supporting roles, he delivered vulnerability, raw emotion, and moral complexity. Cliff's choices revealed an artist unafraid to test limits, to push social boundaries while remaining authentic. He wasn't just a teen idol, he was a performer determined to express human complexity, often risking reputation and comfort for honesty on screen and stage. The BBC raid and legal battle Cliff's life took a darker turn in the 2000s. A police raid, broadcast live by the BBC, suggested wrongdoing that never occurred. His home became a spectacle, his reputation under attack. The trauma was immense. Sleepless nights, panic attacks, public suspicion. Cliff sued both the BBC and South Yorkshire Police, winning substantial damages. Yet the legal victory offered little solace. The harm had already settled into public memory. No payout could erase the shadow of insinuation. For Cliff, it wasn't about money, it was about truth, about a simple acknowledgement that nothing had happened and that some public wounds remain even after justice is served. Triumph through resilience. Despite heartbreak, betrayal, and public scrutiny, Cliff endured. His career spans over 6 decades, with more than 100 singles, 14 #1 hits, and 250 million records sold. He remains the only UK artist with #1 hits across 5 consecutive decades. Beyond the statistics, his life reflects resilience, faith, and unwavering dedication to music. He never married, but his commitments, love, art, and integrity were profound. Cliff Richard's story is not merely about fame, it's about surviving, creating, and finding meaning through enduring personal trials while giving Britain a voice it had never known. Legacy of a quiet, titan Cliff. Richard's journey is a testament to strength, humility, and artistry. He loved deeply and quietly, suffered publicly, yet endured privately, and consistently chose creativity over bitterness. He witnessed the loss of love, the invasion of privacy, and the distortion of reputation, yet he continued to sing, inspire, and evolve. His legacy is measured not only in charts and sales, but in the lives touched, the music that still resonates, and the courage to navigate a world that often misunderstands heroes. Cliff Richard proves that true greatness is not just talent, it is resilience, heart, and a life lived with integrity. The song that never ends. Cliff Richard's story reminds us that life is rarely simple. Even for icons, love may remain unfulfilled, justice delayed, and hardship unavoidable, but the choices we make define our legacy. Cliff carried heartbreak, endured public humiliation, and yet never let cynicism dominate his art. He sang through decades of change, loss, and challenge, leaving a voice that transcends time. Beyond records, awards, and headlines, he teaches us that perseverance, loyalty, and quiet courage shape a life worth remembering. Cliff Richard never stopped singing, and in that song lies a story of resilience, love, and undying spirit.